We're planting potatoes today. So up where we are, this is about the best time to do it, or at least the earliest you can do it, so that you don't have to be too afraid of the freeze on the tops of these. Now that's based on these potato seeds that you've already grown into a plant. So I'm posting a video before this one on how to do that. Basically, your little potatoes from last year, you just throw in a brown paper bag and put it in the dark and cool, and it grows a plant. So what we've done here is, this is our potato bed. We've tried a million different ways to plant potatoes, in bags, in towers, blah, blah, blah. We have not had success any other way than this. So there's no right or wrong. Again, this is just how we do it that works for us in this altitude, in our location, with what we have to work with. So what we've done, this is amendment, solid amendment, and amended soil mixed. So it's a little heavy. I did not amend as much last year. So every other year for potatoes, I do that. Then John, bless his heart, hon, you want to grab that ice pick? To make the rows, because the soil is already so soft and loose, it's easy to make rows with something as simple as an ice pick. Not an ice pick, what is that called? It's a, whatever it's called.
Pick.
Here, bring it in the picture so people can see it. So you can take a tool like this and then drag it along to get your hole. And don't chop your hand off like I almost had mine chopped off. So drag it and make a well, see? And then you'll have small humps on either side. So you'll see a lot of potato videos where people grow into very large humps. This bed is actually 2 feet down underneath the ground. So we have a lot of growing space below. So we don't need to do as much of a hump up top. So I would say probably, what is that, 10 inches high or so, right? And then we water heavily before we plant the potato, because when you do amendment, a lot of times water will not saturate as well. So we soak it there. And then you just take this and you're going to lay it inside here. Now the idea is that you want just a slight piece of that sticking up, just like that. Enough for it to grow heavy roots here, but still get sunlight and water and begin to become a plant up top. So I usually take these, kind of fold them in a little bit. Some people space them out more, but I am a space whore. And with everything I do, I try to put as many in as possible. But in a nutshell, and you can also put your feed down. Like, we're not amending with any fertilizer right now with these, because this is way too much amendment to then add on top of that. I might actually later on spray a plant fertilizer to help them as the season goes along, but not in the soil. But if you're doing this for the first time and you have soil that needs help, then go ahead and put your fertilizer or whatever amendment you have in the row when you're burying the plant. Now see that little baby one? I'm gonna have to bury it up a little higher so that its nose sticks out. You can bury the entire potato and plant, but it's always quicker if you don't. The plant will come up much faster. So then you plant that, you put them in, right? And then you're gonna cover them. Now you can take both sides of this row. See what I'm doing? Ding. It makes a row. Now that's up pretty high, so I need to actually bury that deeper. But I wanted to video and show you how this works. You can also lay it sideways. A lot of people will lay it like this into the soil. See that? So this one I could actually move and do this. So there's no perfect lines and no perfect way to do this, although some people think there is.
Right, get that row.
So just end up with a mound with a small part of the plant upright. Potatoes are very forgiving. They're very kind of difficult to kill unless you don't water them. And of course you're going to want to water heavily at first. Don't drown them, but heavily, like any seed needs a lot of water at first. All right? I know that doesn't look very beautiful. And then after that, we're going to water again. So I'm going to fix that, but you get the idea. Lay them in the rows, cover them so part of the plant is sticking up, water well, and you're going to end up with a little mound, right? Here, which gives you a little extra room for growth. The plants, the leaf part, will be out probably in another week and a half. So I will post a picture or a video of how it leafed out. Now, if we get a freeze, that may burn back a little bit, but again, potatoes are very forgiving, and we're at that time of year where if we have a storm, typically it's one whole solid day, right? It'll freeze, and not 3 in a row like we had a couple of weeks ago. So they should be fine. And also, if you're concerned and if you're way up there, I had a few people who are like, 7,200 feet and are trying to do this, if it gets cold there, you need to cover. So take a blanket even, or a sheet, cover it, put rocks on it, take it off the next day as soon as the sun comes up. It will save your plants, because it can get a little too cold too long when you're that high up, and you just want to save your tips, right? They may still live, but they'll be stunted. Stunted won't give you enough potatoes or large enough potatoes. Okay, so that's one way to plant potatoes. And then I'm going to go ahead, or John and I are going to go ahead and plant, and we're going to cover with a slight bit of straw in order to try to keep the weed load down. It's not perfect, but it helps a little bit. Okay, we'll take another video or a photo after so you can see what it looks like when it's done.